Hello, this is Decide This, and I guess I'm just gonna do me talking video right now because there's about like what 2 rumors and some basic discussions, mainly on Nintendo and one Sony. But anyways, let's get on with it. Xbox Live went down. I didn't give a shit. Okay, next news. First of all, there's this big rumor that everybody's saying that Sony's gonna come up with a PlayStation 3 Super Slim, third SKU for their console. What do I think? I think it's a bad idea. An insanely bad idea. Let me try to put this in perspective. One other company had 3 SKUs for one console because they refused to let the fucker die, and that was Sega. And we all know what happened to Sega now. My computer reminded me it was 8 o'clock. Poor fucking Sega. Oh my god. First they put on the CD, Sega CD, which was an add-on just like the Connect and Move. Well, kind of. And then they put on the 32X, which pretty much doomed the Sega Genesis. And then they came out with the Sega CDX, which was the Sega Genesis and the Sega CDX merged into one. Then they came out with their third SKU of the Sega Genesis. And by the way, it was the Sega Genesis console that they just kept repumping. And also, they came out with the Sega Nomad, which can play all Sega Genesis games. Basically, it was the handheld version of the Sega Genesis again. But just to make everybody new this with the third skill, and it didn't work with Sega CD or the 32X for that matter, was they stamped a giant 3 on there on the front of it. And I think they finally stopped selling Sega Genesis stuff right when Sega finally came out with the Dreamcast. Yeah, they went all the way through the Sega Saturn crap, and then they finally stopped at a Dreamcast area. Only that problem was that was one of the main reasons why, Sega stopped making consoles. They just wouldn't let the Genesis die. I mean, seriously, Sega really held on to the Genesis. And then there's all these reports saying that, oh, Nintendo's creating the same mistakes that Sony's creating by having their online service for free. Well, first of all, the Nintendo Wii online service has been free for a long while. It's shittier than Xbox Live, but the main reason why it worked was that nobody really cared about the online service. Why? Because it was a cheap console, or at least it was an affordable console. See, when the PlayStation 3 came out, it wasn't because of its free online service that destroyed it. Yeah, it was a piece of shit, but it wasn't that. You know why the PS3 failed in market in the first couple of years? Because it was $5.99, or basically $600 to pay for it. And each game cost you about close to $80. Who in their right mind was that fucking psychotic to buy that shit? Sony's could barely even get those PS3s out, and yet Xbox, they were selling their consoles at $400, and it was mildly successful. I mean, and of course now Nintendo's new console is rumored to be at $400, and all the PlayStation 3 not PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 fans are going, boo, boo, your console's too expensive, Nintendo. Yeah, well, how much did you pay for your fucking console? So don't talk back, dumbasses. 400? Oh, yeah, you can pay that for Microsoft, but for Nintendo, oh, that's too much fucking money. Fuck you. And let's not also forget the whole Microsoft proprietary hard drive bullshit and how they overpriced them. And they were overpriced. I may be sounding like I'm angry, but in truth, I just want to see Sony do some smart things. Like, think about their next PlayStation 4 instead of shrinking the PlayStation 3 and end up with them thinking that the PlayStation 3 is going to lead them to some greatness, that they don't want the machine to ever die. Just like what happened with Sega and Genesis. Sega just didn't want to let Genesis go. Yeah, the Genesis did for a while beat the Nintendo Entertainment System, but in the end, the Super NES did beat the Genesis by a hair. But then, you know, after that, Sega just kept making bad mistakes after bad mistakes after bad mistakes. Mostly, they just didn't want the Genesis to die and to go away. And we are reaching the end of these consoles, so it's time to think about the newer consoles and just put the other one out the pasture. I mean, if you can make your new consoles backwards compatible, great. More power to you. But for the love of God, kill the previous console. Let it slowly drain out in sales. Yes, I know they're still selling the PS2s. Actually, no, PS2s aren't selling as big as they used to. In fact, there's hardly any games coming out for the PlayStation 2 anymore. I mean, back all the way back then, they were still coming out in bulks, but not anymore. And it's just, I don't even think they're even manufacturing PS2s anymore. But just let the PlayStation 3 go. And by the way, the PlayStation 2 did last longer than 10 years. A lot longer than 10 years. They can pretty much. And the reason why was that they didn't have to worry about the PlayStation 1 because the PlayStation 2 was so successful that they could just let the PlayStation 1 just die and just keep selling the PlayStation 2 because well, the PlayStation 3 just wasn't doing very well. But even with the PlayStation 2, there was only two SKUs for it, not three. Most consoles usually had one SKU or two SKUs, and anything that went past three, like, you know, the 3DO did, it pretty much died real fast. The 3DO came out with like three or four skills all at once. Ugh. Well, that's just me and my little rants. Maybe until next time. See ya.